After that, then you go to the bottom right, copy and paste the YouTube link.
Okay. That's copied. Now where do I paste?
Then you got to go back into the Stealth Seminar Control.
Okay. Why don't I let you
And
go ahead
then-
and do your
And then you have to.
So
It's
you
not my
learn by
magic.
doing.
I already made it go green. What do you mean?
Why?
I don't know.
Must have something to do with this camera.
And then submit, right? Copy paste, and then back to the Home Stealth page. Submit.
Who would know anything about this
I
camera?
have no idea. Then what? Okay.
Would Troy be the person to talk to?
Okay. Then back to Home Stealth page. Paste in the YouTube place, which is right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hit submit.
Excellent. Yep.
Then what?
Let's see.
Then it comes up like that. That's it.
Watch the countdown. Okay, so we have 10 minutes to spare here. Now go back to the Google Hangouts tab. It's still green. Why is it green?
Hang on.
We do not want a green broadcast.
No, that's not what we want.
To me. That'll be Barry at store.com.
does look normal now.
Should I hit save?
Maybe. I wonder why.
There you go.
So now we have this cord here. We could try a different cord.
Quite frankly, I like you like that. That's pretty cool. Let's give people their money's worth.
I'll put some new spin on things.
Yeah, total spin on things. Just hope people can't see me.
Well, we could have Jason stand on his head. And
No, I liked that dually there. That looked pretty good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah, there you go. Sit down, Jason. So is that the
So-
new cord? Is that with the cord or without
No,
the
it's
cord?
without the cord.
Yeah.
I'd say you can try it with the other cord, see if that. I don't think it's gonna. I have a sneaking suspicion it has something to do with the length of it.
Oh, really?
That you might possibly be losing, but I don't know.
Why would you lose? I don't understand.
Sometimes when you start, it's even with. I didn't realize it would do it with this, but even with sound, sometimes when you start going longer distances, the quality of the sound,
So
like
We're
in
going-
stereos and stuff like that.
any further, you're going to need to have email access to. So you can go ahead and use my computer,
Yeah, I didn't bring mine over. Now I can bring
To,
mine over, but
log in.
where are we at with the actual seminar here?
I don't know, but you guys have that guy's
6
name.
minutes. I don't know what name.
So any questions that come through from me are actually going to be Barry at store. I couldn't figure out how to get him a quick link fast enough,
Write that down.
and he was already registered, so I don't know why he didn't get his email, but
Okay.
it's just Barry, and it's at STORR. Maybe Jason knows what company that is. I don't know. But
I've never heard of it.
anyway, he'll be in under me if he. I told him to put his name in because he's aware that he's logged in under me.
All right. God, can this make it any worse? Can't see.
So how far are we into we got?
5 minutes and 47 seconds.
Okay, we have enough time to test this out. See if this makes any difference.
My Google, I logged in under me for my Google under Gmail, and it would not let me go into Hangouts.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with that. We might have to revisit that. It'll go in under Bob as long
Actually, you know what we need to do? Just a bad cord.
Oh, look at that. It was the cord. Excellent. So you can adjust that however you need.
Oh, that looks good. Hang on. Don't move. No, we're not doing chinny close-ups. If you're going to do that, get up and do this.
Yeah, right.
Okay, not loud.
Right.
I'm glad it was just the cord.
Hang on.
Let's see. This is the one that I just discarded here. So we must be just a couple minutes away here.
I don't know. Let me look.
We still have almost
3 minutes and 51 seconds. Now, what's going to happen is this. How is this going to work? Now, this screen here is this is going to go away? Or what? What's going to happen?
What's going to happen is when this counts down to 0, then it's going to say something to the effect of "You are now live," whatever it says, and then the picture here is going to be delayed. I think a few seconds. Isn't that what we saw yesterday? Is that whatever Jason is doing doesn't exactly match with what you see on the screen because there's a little bit of a delay.
Okay, so which screen should we have open?
What I would suggest is popping this over to here so you can kind of see both things going on. Yeah. Now you can see this basically will be pretty close in time to what the audience is seeing, and now we see.
And if I have to, if it bothers you, I'll drop this one down.
We shouldn't have to do anything at this point. It should automatically send our viewers to this picture when this counts down to 0.
Well,
The only thing you'll have to do is when Jason is ready to be done, you can click Stop Broadcast. You know,
When I'm ready to
when
be
he
done.
when he says
Okay.
something to the effect of, thank you for joining us.
you know what I thought was really cool?
What?
I thought just to kill some time, you should have a Floor Trends magazine in front of you, and and when you go around, oh, hi, this is Jason Spangler. While you're waiting for people to type in questions.
Sure.
Just wanted to let all of you know we had a really great article in Floor Trends this year. They're just, come on. Why can't you do that?
Not everything has to be self-serving.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, now, keep in mind, so here pretty quick we're going to have to,
Be quiet.
yeah, because I think Eric said that, did we determine that it could be early or late? People could be coming in?
Could be.
Mhm.
I'm not convinced that anything will happen before it counts down to 0, but Eric seemed to think it might, so you may want to start talking at about 20 seconds, just to.
That's where the
Just to
whole
kind of
Floor Trends
transition.
idea comes in. Oh, hi.
Oh, I almost forgot that I was doing a live Q&A.
Thank you for joining us today.
This is going to be, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, it does have a delay.
What has a delay?
Talk.
Hello? Hello?
That
I
seems,
did for a
second.
it's
Okay,
not-
you're at
it's not
57,
delayed.
56, 55, 54,
3,
2, 1. And you just sit.
I hope nobody's I hope nobody's seeing this.
Greatest live bloopers ever was, people. It's worth $1 million.
I'm just gonna wait until 0 and start talking.
30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Oh, lordy, lordy. Ow, 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 ow.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the webinar. We've had some very, very good feedback. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jason Spangler, and I'm the Flooring Division Manager for Wagner. Responsible for the Rapid RH, also responsible for pretty much anything that revolves around flooring. I'm going to tell you right now, this is our first, you guys are the quote-unquote guinea pigs, this is our first live interaction with me being actually on video. So if there are any technical difficulties, I'm going to have to apologize ahead of time because we're still trying to kind of work out the bugs a little bit. If any of you do have any questions, please, I've gotten quite a few already, but if you do have any questions, please, as I proceed through the Q&A, don't hesitate to type in your questions, and I'll get to as many of them as possible. So I'll start off with the first one. The first one that I have is from Damon. The question is it true if a Wagner probe is compromised once installed, it will read 99% sometimes and never go down? First of all, Damon, I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by compromised, but what I will say is that when you do have any type of relative humidity sensor, when you put it into extremely harsh environments, extremely high relative humidity environments, what you will see is a delay in its response. But the never go down part, that's not something that I have seen or something that's actually shown out there. When I say delayed, if you have a floor that starts off at 99% relative humidity, and let's say that it gets down to a true, say, 85% relative humidity, the probe that was put in initially in that high relative humidity, 99%, 100% relative humidity environment, is going to be slower to actually react to that, the true 85% moisture content of the slab. That's why we always tell people, when you're going into a situation where you know that the slab is wet, new construction, a lot of this fast track stuff, do a sampling of the floor. Go in and do, if you're going to do like 12 overall, do like 6 to start with, see where stuff's at, and then as you get closer, then start putting in more and more of those sensors. Next question comes from Jeff. Do we need to, oops, sorry, again, this is one of the wonderful things about having a live Q&A, is that I don't get to read the questions until I open the email. Message from Dennis. How far should I drill if I don't know the depth of the concrete? That's a great question, Dennis. There's a couple of things. One is there's actually, you can go to the extreme. There's devices out there that are based off of what they call echo impact principle that you can put on the surface of the concrete, and it sends much like a sonar, sends a sonar down through the slab and will give you an accurate measurement of how thick the slab is. Unfortunately, they haven't come up with one that really is cost effective, if you will. The one thing I will say is that they have people out in the marketplace right now. A lot of times what you're going to see is you're going to see them do smaller pilot holes in the slab and drill through it. A lot of times they'll take like a piece of pliable wire, push it down through the hole and hook it on the bottom of the slab and then measure it that way to get an idea. Again, I'm not a proponent of turning the slab into Swiss cheese by any stretch of the imagination, but a couple of holes strategically placed to verify slab thicknesses is not going to make or break a project by any stretch of the imagination. And that is something that you do see out there that happens quite often. This one's from Jeff. How much of an RH difference do you see when you change the depth of your RH probe? If you have a probe at exactly 40% and you read 85% RH, what would the same part of the slab read at 50%, 30%? Are the results going to be close to 85 or something way off like 95%? I wish I had the absolute straight across the board answer to that. Obviously what I can tell you is that if you go to 50%, and I'm sure you know this at this point, especially after just seeing this webinar, if you go to 50%, it's going to be wetter than the true equilibrium will be when the floor's encapsulated. If you go to 30%, it's going to be lower than what the true equilibrium is going to be. What you're going to see is that when the ASTM committee was looking at making some of the revisions back in 2011, they were looking at doing a plus or minus on the drill depth, but they determined that they wanted to keep it at 40% just because it was critical. So I guess really to sum it up, you want to get as close to that 40% mark as you can. Again, Jeff, How long after you put a rapid RH probe in the floor will it take to get the initial reading for you to watch the trend of whether or not it is climbing or falling in RH? Typically what you're going to see, Jeff, in the first 60 minutes is you're going to see, because you've drilled the concrete, you've caused a lot of heat, you've pushed the moisture away from the hole. As you put the sensor in there, it starts slowly coming back to its natural state prior to the drilling. And what you're going to see is the way that the probe, the Rapid RH is designed, it's going to react very quickly to that environmental change. So in that first 60 minutes, you're going to see it. Typically, it's going to be high temperature, lower relative humidity. As things come back to their normal state, you're going to see the relative humidity rise. Usually within 60 minutes, you're going to be somewhere in the ballpark of between 3 to 6% on the low side of where that thing's going to end up in 72 hours. So I would say typically at an hour is where I see a lot of people, if they're using the system to its biggest potential, they're going to look at that 60-minute reading and then base that off of future readings to look and see what the trending's like. Tim, have a 375,000 square foot building, Southeast Florida, that is dock high, has a vapor retarder, was built over time, 62 to 75. I'm sorry, 1962 to 1975. I have readings in many areas of 85 to 99% RH in air-conditioned areas. Where does the moisture come from? That, honestly, I'd probably have to get more information on this one, Tim, but you know, is the slab open? Is it sealed? You know, some of the different areas. It has a vapor retarder. Is the vapor retarder directly underneath the slab, or is there, as there used to be way back when, is there a sand blotter layer in between the vapor retarder and the slab? You say it has a vapor barrier. I would have to question, especially from 1962 to 75, a lot of the vapor barriers back then, unfortunately, may have degraded at this point. I don't know what kind of testing you've done to see what kind of shape the vapor retarder's in now, but you know, even though stuff was put down, I can tell you that some of the failures that I've seen on floors, specifically, you know, that I've seen, have been on some of these older buildings that either had a vapor retarder that is no longer viable, or it never had a vapor retarder to begin with. Next question from Damon. When we are getting high readings, our customers often want us to test every day in hopes they will drop. What is the acceptable waiting between test times that is reasonable and not wasting everyone's time? Damon, that's another great one. I tell you honestly, what I've seen, and I think it's a great idea, what I've seen people do, because the readers are so inexpensive. I've seen a lot of flooring contractors, I've seen a lot of engineering firms where there's needs to be follow-up readings taken, especially in situations like this that you're talking about, which, you know, every day really is wasting everybody's time. Is that they go out and they buy a separate reader just so they can loan it out to their customers. And, you know, again, not that you don't want to be very customer oriented and do the things that you know, need to do to have great customer service from a business perspective, but like you're saying, at some point you are wasting everybody's time, and the hopes that this, you know, something is going to drastically change overnight really is not reasonable. To answer your question specifically, most people that I talk to, they're not going to go back more than once a week, and that's probably pushing it right there. You know, every week, every 2 weeks, but you know, it really is going to depend on how much you're looking at. I mean, if they're looking at trying to get that last, you know, 2 or 3 points off the relative humidity, you know, maybe every couple weeks. But if you're 10 or 15 points away from what would be an acceptable installation number, most people won't go back for a while or come up with some alternative to being able to proceed with the flooring installation. Another one from Damon. Oh, sorry, I got the same one. Again, technical difficulties. Wonderful, first time. Dennis, what is the best degree or temperature of humidity ideal for applying flooring? Degree or temperature of humidity. Okay, Dennis, I think I understand your question, so I'm going to answer it the way I think I understand it. Obviously, if I don't get it, I'm going to give you guys my phone number and my direct contact information. If any of these questions either didn't make sense, if you think of questions after the fact, definitely call me. Typically what you're going to see, and you're looking at it based off of what the conditions are going to be like when the space is occupied. Obviously different types of environments or different uses may have different quote-unquote service conditions. You may have a warehouse that is conditioned, but you know, when you put some kind of epoxy flooring, you know, floor covering or floor coating on it, the conditions out in that warehouse may be different even if it is a conditioned space as opposed to an office space. But if we're talking about, you know, the normal aspects, when you look at flooring, depending on the perm rating or the breathability of the flooring depends on what the moisture thresholds are. And this is characteristic. So when you look at that, 75% relative humidity or less, if you look at the NWFA guidelines, National Wood Flooring Association, is going to be acceptable for a wood floor to be installed. If you get into the solid sheet vinyls, typically you're going to be in the rubbers, you're typically going to be somewhere in the 80 to 85% or less is going to be acceptable, again, depending on manufacturer. And then you can get up into the VCTs, different things like that, where I've seen them go as high as 90% depending on the manufacturer's type of adhesive that they want you to use. Carpet tiles, most of the time I see 75 to 80%, somewhere in that ballpark. So the different types of products are going to have different thresholds. Originally when we started off with relative humidity testing, I'll just say around 2005, the standard that was out there, the F2170 standard, it was 75% or less for all flooring. Didn't make any difference. And what you've seen is over the last, you know, 9, almost 10 years, you've seen the different manufacturers of both adhesive and finished floor products that have actually done testing to figure out or determine what their moisture thresholds are so that they can start raising those limits as opposed to having just straight across the board 75%. Now they alter it based on the breathability of the product. Okay. Looks like I got through all the questions. I hope this wasn't too painful on your end. Definitely, if you have any feedback on it, let me know. I think for the first time it went fairly smooth. My direct phone number, and again, call me if you have any questions or if there are any of these questions that I did not address succinctly enough or that you didn't understand. Phone number is 800-634-9961, and my direct extension is 235. I want to thank all of you and have a great day.